Hello, everyone. This is Chala Dincoy, CEO and founder of The Repositioning Expert, welcoming you with another Tuesday Tea Time with Chala. I am not going to be here next week, so I'm going to get in all I can this week. I'm going to be in person again. I'm so excited with, thousands and thousands of people I know. It doesn't seem like something that would excite people after COVID, but it excites me because it is rare for me. It's gonna be like a jam-packed week in New Orleans at the NMSDC conference, and I've got several speaking slots thanks to my sponsors, Capital One, and also I've secured a TV gig with ABC, so I'm looking for an adoptive dog. Hopefully, that's gonna happen. They didn't have a live slot for me, but we're gonna film something for the can and then be able to see it later on. So I've reached out to a couple of shelters in the area. So we'll see what happens. I'm so excited. So much happening, so much going on. But in the meantime, here we go. Let me take a sip. And again, of course, it's protein. I've gotten so many funny comments from the herbal tea that I was drinking, the vegan bone broth that I was drinking last week. One funny comment said you should drink it with a straw, which to me makes it more concentrated. But anyway, thank you for your comments. And I don't know if anyone actually listens to the marketing content here, the business content, but I'm hoping you do. But I am happy with the engagement that I'm getting on my personal life and pet peeves. All right. So today's topic is about rejection. I don't often think about rejection. I'm always thinking about, the better part of life, of how people are going to say yes, what they're going to say yes to, what would interest them. So I don't spend a lot of time thinking about rejection, but I guess when I think about it, a lot of people, and to a certain level, I myself am stopped at a certain level because of rejection. And I never gave it much thought until I read this statistic where a Harris poll survey that was commissioned by Zapier found that 3 out of 5 human beings, people in the United States, have had a business idea, but 92% have done nothing with it. So when people tell me like amazing ideas, I'm like, great, but show me what you're going to do with it. Show me the pudding, right? And even the people who actually do start a business with it, they don't succeed a lot of the time. So, and the majority, when they ask them, why didn't you do it? A third of them said that they were stopped by a fear of rejection. My guess is a lot more than a third were stopped by rejection. So an interesting TED Talk that I've seen is by a guy from China. His name is Jia Zhang. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. And it's called The 100 Days of Rejection. So this guy, he was just a regular guy, corporate employee, and he wasn't really even an entrepreneur. And he just saw this concept. And I think it was a Canadian psychologist who even started the whole challenge, the rejection challenge, so that you can desensitize yourself to rejection. And what he actually created was he came up with different, tests for himself, different challenges for 100 days. And he felt like this is really the way that's going to teach him a lot and get him over the fear of rejection. And it's so insightful. I don't even know how he decided to do it. And his English isn't even that good. So I was thinking about all my clients who've had accents, all my clients who came from somewhere else who felt that was the reason why they would be rejected. But this guy, from what I could see, could barely really be understood in most parts of the US. And he was asking people to do crazy and interesting things. And then he made it into a TED Talk, and then he wrote a book, and everything went viral. So here's some of the learnings that he had. I mean, this was fascinating. Some of the learnings that he had, and then I'm going to apply it, of course, always to us, right? Small business owners. So the first one he did was to borrow $100 from a stranger. and he was sweating before, he had to do this. And these are some of the things like I have never done because it's so out of your comfort zone. I mean, I ask for a lot more than $100 for my services, but not only have I gotten it and I've been paid all that for many, many years, so it's not even a uncomfortable zone for me. But we're going to get into how it translates into my challenge for you guys as entrepreneurs, as business owners, what you can do to desensitize yourself to rejection and to get out of your own way to actually get to the next level of your business and success. So his first challenge was to borrow $100 from a stranger. And what he noticed is he was sweating and he went up to the guy and he said, "Can I have $100?" And the guy said, "No." And he ran, like ran from there. He didn't even ask anything else. He didn't even say anything else. And he noticed that he didn't even, say anything or ask the guy or try to convince him. So that was like a flight or fight, and he ran, right? So his brain just went on just like running away. So think about what kinds of things in your business are you refusing to do that are like that? Like you don't even you don't even ask for anything. And when you do ask and it's a no, you don't even try to engage around conversation. So that he learned from that. He said, "Wow, I mean, I didn't even think I could, I should have said something more than just run." Okay. So the second request was he went to a fast food restaurant. He asked for a burger refill. And usually you can get a free drink refill, but there's no such thing as a burger refill. So people were like, "What are you talking about?" So he went up to the manager and, he went up to the guy at the cash um, and they said, "What is a burger refill?" And, he explained it to him. He said, "Well, I really like your burgers here and I'd like to have another one because I really enjoy them. And I just thought I'd spread the good, cheer and tell all my friends about how good things are." So, there was less of a rejection there because, the question that was asked was, "Well, why?" And they said, "No, we don't give burger refills." But he was able to talk to them. And then they said, maybe, on another day down the road, if we have, a lot of extras or on another day when another manager's here, we might be able to give you some. So it wasn't a complete no. So what he's learning through this, desensitization, rejection therapy is that when you actually engage with people around the why, it sometimes can turn into a yes. Then he hit the jackpot and he went to Krispy Kreme donuts and he asked for the Olympic rings emblem to be created with adjoining different colored Krispy Kreme donuts. I think it's got 5 or 6 rings. So and to his shock, and he's got a very bad quality camera that if you go to his website, he's actually filmed some of these and he's able to show you what they look like, but they're very badly, like they're chopped. You can only see a part of it, but it legitimizes that he actually did it. So to his shock, the actual employee that was working there, this young girl, she took it so seriously and she was so excited. She got out a pen and started drafting what it would look like. And I guess they had a lot of time on their hands because I was at Krispy Kreme this weekend because I had some guests coming over. So I thought I would give us all a treat, which was really unnecessary because we're all over a certain age. But there was an enormous lineup. Those people were running like fire, coming out of their heels. So this was not the same. But I guess they had a slow day. It was a slow hour. So she literally created it for him. And he was floored. He couldn't believe that they would do that for someone, and for no reason, for no extra money. He didn't know anyone. He wasn't anyone special. So that little choppy video went viral. 5 million shares and views happened of that video. And then he was all of a sudden invited to all these talk shows. And, he had the book, he had his website, and all those things started to happen. So, he learned from these couple of rejection therapy challenges that. Lesson number one is ask why. So here is where this lesson was reinforced is one of his challenges was he wanted to plant a flower, just knock on a stranger's door and say, can I plant this flower in your backyard? And he went to the first house and he asked if he could plant the flower, and the guy said no. And because he had learned already, he said, why? And the guy said, it's because I have a dog. He's going to dig it up. It's going to be a mess. He's going to probably try to eat it. I don't want him to die. But there's a lady across the street who's crazy about flowers that you could probably get a yes. So not only did he get an answer to why, but he actually got a referral. That's what he calls. He goes in the business world, it's called a referral. So, and he went over and sure enough, she loved it. And so he, planted it. And so always ask, the why and try to engage further. The second thing he learned was when he did a challenge as he wanted to become a Starbucks greeter. And what I'm in love with is how creative these things are. Like, who would think of a hamburger refill or a Starbucks greeter? And so he went up to the manager of a Starbucks and he said, can I become a Starbucks greeter for a couple of hours? Open the door, greet your customers and welcome them in. And the guy said, like, what is that? What do you mean? And he goes, well, they do it at Walmart. Those senior citizens, they make you feel welcome. They make sure you don't steal anything. And so I wanted to do it here. And the guy was like, I don't know. The manager was a little bit nervous about it. And then this guy, John, what was his name? Jia said, is that weird? So when you name what they're feeling, what the other person is feeling, which is naming, is it weird? So to name it that way proved that he himself thought it was weird, that he wasn't himself weird, but that, it was just a request and that was weird. But was it cool? And so as soon as he said, is it weird? The guy agreed to it. He goes, yeah, it's kind of weird, but let's go for it. And he did it. So when you name their fear, you form empathy, and empathy forms trust. So these are some of the lessons of the, trying to ask for impossible things. Let me top myself up. So based on all of the things that he talked about, I made a list of where I've seen with my clients where rejection stops business owners. The number one is outreach, even to their past networks and friends. And when they see outreach as asking for money, asking for time, asking for any kind of investment from strangers or friends, it stops them. So I want you to, whoever's watching this, challenge yourself to, in some way, do outreach, whether through phone or email or text or messaging or in person. Do outreach means reach out and ask for their time, for their, for a meeting, for a conversation, for whatever it is that you want to ask for. Even if you want to ask for a sale, go for it. But that's the number one place where I see people, like even top CEOs who have for a long time not have to do outreach. They are so reluctant to do it. Now, I haven't had to do outreach, except I keep my hand in the game by constantly putting myself up for rejection when I do cold calls to get myself on TV. So I had to do a whole bunch in not Nashville, New Orleans. Now I'm going to do a whole bunch again because I'm going to be in DC, in Washington, DC. And believe me, what I've heard about the Washington, DC TV market is that it is rough. It is really tough to get in. So keep your hand in the game, even if you're at the top of, you've got decades under your belt and you really are kind of, don't have to go out and get more sales as desperately as you did in the first days of your business. It's one of the things that you can do to challenge yourself as the rejection desensitization, the rejection therapy. Okay. The second one is public speaking. I mean, I'm challenging you guys to this because it's something I do all the time and I'm used to it and it's easy for me. But for a lot of my clients and a lot of people who are watching this, it's not. It's not easy. It's not usual. So I'm challenging you. The rejection therapy is go ask to speak somewhere, ask to speak as many places as you can in front of the audiences that would pay you to work with you in some fashion and talk about what you think about the problem that they're facing and how you help with the problem that they're facing. Public speaking is one of the biggest fears because it's one of the biggest opportunities for rejection. I mean, not only have I been rejected in reaching out to try to speak publicly, but also when I've stood on stage, I've been challenged and I've been rejected. My ideas have been rejected, whether in the moment where people are challenging me right then and there or afterwards. But by and large, 98%, it's been positive and it's been the biggest, growth years of my life where I've done all that public speaking. The bigger, the better. Number three place where rejection stops business owners is blogging and writing. One, they doubt that they know how to do it, especially if it's not their comfort zone, especially if they have, not a writing kind of background, especially if it's their second language. So that is one thing. The other part is judgment. They're worried about what are people going to think if I say this about the industry? What are people going to think if I say this about this client? So that's the other place that you can challenge yourself, do the rejection therapy with some form of blogging and writing for your company and industry. Number four, where rejection stops business owners is selling to bigger or unfamiliar fish. So try to sometimes step out of your league and pitch to them. And there could be different ways of pitching to them. There could be different lures you need to use, but challenge yourself. Rejection therapy, right? What do you have to lose, right? What do you have to lose? Number five, where rejection stops business owners is changing how they're doing something, especially sales, marketing, or how they work. If a change agent is introduced, such as a coach, it is one of the hardest things for a human being to change what they used to do and used to get them somewhat of a result, right? It's very hard to change. So again, put yourself on the line and do a rejection therapy for business owners where you're changing how you do either your selling, marketing, or work. And lastly, I'm going to say social media. And the biggest part of social media that I would recommend is if you're a B2B on LinkedIn, in some fashion, do video, or just what I'm doing is live stream. Live stream is everything on the line. You can't be a perfectionist. Everything can go wrong. People can tune out. Maybe nobody will watch, but it's a rejection therapy kind of thing that you have to do. Every week, and this is part of my content strategy, is that I look up and I research a topic of interest to my clients and to my community around sales and marketing. And then I create this live stream, and then I write an accompanying blog and article about it. And then I build my newsletter around that. Plus it becomes social media content. Plus it becomes my newsletter content. So that's my last challenge for you guys. So give yourselves 100 days of rejection for an entrepreneur using these main titles. And then you will find that it gets easier and easier and you get desensitized. Everybody can use some form of new level to go up to with some sort of, rejection therapy. So once you conquer the 100, you will change the way that you're doing business and your results will change. So when you change, your business changes and your results change. So I hope that was interesting. I hope that was hopeful. I hope to see you guys if you're going to be in New Orleans, and wish me luck with finding the right adoptive dog and getting on TV and all those things. And of course, wish me luck on stage because I'll be on a couple of stages. We'll see you in 2 weeks, everyone. Take care.